Good morning, everybody, from a sunny and very hot KwaZulu-Natal North Coast, and welcome to Live at the Waterhole. My name is Sean Taylor, and myself and the awesome Wild Earth crew are going to be with you for the next 2 hours as we visit our friends from all the different waterholes all over Africa. And the action starts immediately, I see. Guys, as you know, especially myself, I love hearing from you guys. I love interacting. So please send your questions and just interact, man. Let's even chat about the weekend. It'll be great. I'd love to hear from you. You'll check at the bottom of the screen all the information you'll need to contact us, whether it be via WhatsApp, our website, our various social media channels. You guys choose, and it'll be awesome to hear you guys. We'll hear from you guys, should I say. So yeah, let's get going. And of course, elephant. We've been seeing a lot of elephant the last couple of days. I feel more so than any other time, right? I don't know what's going on. I think obviously with the end of the dry season, the ellies, you know, the water inside the bush is kind of drying up, and I think these guys are coming to the more kind of either pumped waterholes or permanent waterholes, and spending the heat of the day there. So yeah, I think today is going to be an elephant day, guys. I think we're going to have to come up with a few ways to enjoy these, our largest land mammal. See those beautiful starlings. It's going to be a cracker. It looks really hot there as well. I feel like August was when spring started here in southern Africa. We didn't have an end of winter. We just went straight into spring, and I feel like spring day was the 1st of August here, and we're now in the 2nd month of spring. Isn't that crazy? It's nuts. Anyway, that's my rant about the weather over. Caden, very lekker to hear from you. Have you ever been to Kenya? Caden? No, I actually have not been to Kenya yet, believe it or not. I have been all over. I've been privileged to guide pretty much everywhere besides Kenya. However, next year is going to be my time to shine, and I'll be able to go through to Kenya next year. I've got a group that I'm going to be guiding, and I cannot wait to actually get there and check out what it's all about. I mean, you know, you grow up on TV with basically those big open plains and the lions walking through, and Jeremy Irons' voice and David Attenborough's voice on the TV, and I can't wait. It's going to be like living in a documentary, so it's going to be good fun, and hopefully I'll bump into a few of these old chaps, because Aldonio might be one of the places that we pop through to, so it's going to be awesome. Benji, hello to you. It's good to chat to you again. You're asking, do you think elephants have favorite waterholes that they frequent? So Benji, absolutely they do. These big males, elephants don't have territories. So they don't protect certain areas, but they will stay in areas that has got a good food source or good food sources, because we know how these guys love to eat, and water. They highly water dependent. So that's why we see the same guys day after day, sucking up liters of water at a time, scaring our friends at the back half to death every day. See that eland's coming, hopefully they pop through. And it goes the same with the breeding herds as well. They will move around, led by the matriarch, and they'll go on almost like circuits, which will be, if the area is big enough, will be seasonal. But what absolutely just astounds me with how intelligent these creatures are is the matriarchs carry such an encyclopedia of knowledge that even when the seasons change, and for instance now it seems to be getting hotter, basically a month earlier than it used to get, we never know whether that's going to bring rain or whether it's going to push the rain out further. But often as guides, we watch the elephants, we watch the zebra, and we watch the birds, because their behavior and where they move to and how far they will travel to certain places tells us kind of what's going to be happening seasonal. So they're like the original weather app. So the matriarchs they'll move around, but like I said, they all kind of stick around in areas where there's plenty of food and water. Gabby, you commented, you said spring lasted 15 minutes. We're in summer already. Gabby, I don't even think we got 15 minutes of post-winter, to be honest with you. We went from a weekend where it was just unseasonably cold. Sadly, I had a trail run that I had to do that weekend. I started running at 4 degrees Celsius. I nearly died. And I don't think it went over 16 the entire day. But we went from that weather to just blazing hot, almost like the other day I felt like I was in an air fryer. It was ridiculous. Here in northern KZN, it's particularly hot. So I'm with you, Gabby. I get it. We've got our... I get so excited interacting with you guys that I sometimes just lose track about why we're actually here. So while I've been ranting on about things, I see we've got a giraffe that has joined us, and the eland are slowly clickety-clacking in the back there to the waterhole as well. Don't you just love the colors of those starlings as they take off? You just see that beautiful iridescent coloration. It's just, yeah, I tell you what, Mother Nature, there's just, I don't think any human could ever capture what Mother Nature has captured. She truly is special with her characters and her colors and her scenes, and isn't it awesome? So guys, I had a feeling that today, well, before I chat about our theme for the day, we're going to head over to Tau. We're going to leave these guys having their drink, and we're going to shoot over to Tau. Go have a look what's going on. Ooh, got some red-billed teals in the water there, with a dramatic zoom. Oh wow. Ooh, that's beautiful, man. Check out that beautiful contrast between that dry, oh, they need some rain there, and then we've got that beautiful green in front there. We've got oh, check this. We've got a grey, this is a grey heron. Probably the best known of all the herons. I call them
Let's go and take a look. See you out there.
Wildlife Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
that we're approaching now.
The light on her as well is absolutely gorgeous.
So we are going to enjoy the rest of this sunset.
Wow, 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 this is absolutely crazy.
And thank you for joining us. For myself and Cam, we will see you next time.
Can you hear that? The wild is calling.
The dawn of civilization. They've seen everything, these guys. It's amazing to think about how long they have been around for. I mean, even the heron is scared of them. I mean, look at that. Oh, there we go. I think his escape route is organized here. So interesting to watch the different interactions here. So Muriel, thank you for your message. You asked for a shout out to your daughter, Cameron Green. Cameron, apparently you are a huge wildlife fan, and you're wanting to be a wildlife vet with big cats especially. Well, listen, Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. It's awesome to have younger generation interested in wildlife. Interested in what's going on here in Africa. We rely on you guys, the future generation, to protect these wild spaces. Everywhere we go on these phenomenal cameras, and every interaction that we see like this is due to you guys visiting us, and you going into the parks and spending your hard-earned money and donating and getting involved and wanting to be wildlife vets and game rangers, and all of this is what's going to save these wild areas for your children and your children's children. So Cameron, you are going to be awesome, and I wish you much luck in your future with becoming a wildlife vet. And Joe Cage, it's a really cool name, man. You've asked me. We're going to move over to founders quickly, but I just caught your question at the end there, Joe. You asked if that heron caught something, would the croc attack? Joe, crocs are interesting creatures. I see there's a blessed book that's just walked across the screen. Joe, all the animals are just interrupting you today, but I'll be quick. So if the croc may attack, they may not attack. It depends on what the croc feels like, essentially. So for them, remember, they're cold-blooded. And so they have to calculate everything really carefully, because any misusage of their energy stores could mean the life or death for them. So if that croc saw the opportunity to get a fish and a bird combo, a happy meal in croc terms, it would take it, absolutely. But if it was too far away and it would mean using up too much of its energy stores, especially with the fact that it's in the sun busy getting energy now, it wouldn't do it. They're the ultimate apex predators, Joe. So it's difficult to say what they're going to do. We have a blessbok there, busy mulling around the water here at Mantis Founders Lodge. Looks like he's trying to come down for some water. There we go. That is a very nice little drink. Look at that awesome silhouette there. Don't often get to see it. Look at that beautiful mask that these guys have got on. Isn't it stunning? At least he doesn't have to contend with... It's an old boy as well, sure. At least he doesn't have to contend with the elephants chasing him away. He could just go have a leisurely drink without being bugged. And off he goes. Looks like a beautiful day there. You can see those hip bones are starting to show. Backbone starting to show. He's an old guy. It's probably why he isn't with the herd. You know, as they get a little bit older, especially if they were dominant males, within a herd structure, they generally will go off on their own. But it's not all doom and gloom. They generally will join, you know, herds of wildebeest or like a impala herd, and they kind of live the rest of their life out being that weird uncle that walks funny with the other animals until eventually they either die of old age, which does happen, believe it or not, or they get taken out and the circle of life continues. Those little birds calling in the background there are called rattling cisticulars. It's an alarm call, so I'm wondering whether maybe something isn't walking through, although this boy doesn't seem too interested. So it could be just a bigger animal. But those rattling cisticulars will call for everything. So it could be anything from an animal to a human being. So guys, how long has it been now? It's been 20 minutes. So we're gonna go to Serendella, see what's happening there. But it's been 20 minutes in, and I haven't even told you guys what I'd like to do today in terms of getting some interaction. So today, I was thinking that we, and this is perfect. I reckon today we talk about your best elephant interaction / sighting. And this could be, watching a mom give birth, to having a mock charge, to whatever the case is. Let me know what your best interaction was, something that's left a mark on you with regards to these elephants. In Southern Africa, we're so fortunate to have so many encounters with these guys because of our conservation and our dedicated rangers that give their lives to protect these animals. And so all of us have got some kind of story. Let me know. Send us a message. I'd love to read them out, and I'll chat to you guys a little bit as well later about what mine was. I have a few. Being fortunate enough to be a trails guide as well, I get to bump into these guys every now and again on foot, and sometimes it's phenomenal and cry worthy, and sometimes it's scary and I cry, but later on back at my tent. I see there's a hippo hanging out there in the middle of the water too.
My full name is Mtusi Tikani. Best part of my job is coming to see nature. Worst part of my job is logging. That's the worst thing ever, because you have to log amount of footage. You sit in front of that computer and yeah, you think of deleting the footage, but no, they need the footage. If I want a camel, probably a soccer player. I know some people don't believe me, but I'm very good, and I'm very fast.
Out here, every wild moment counts, and as a wild earth explorer, you will not miss out. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7, and you can even rewind if you have missed out on something. Enjoy the behind-the-scenes video clips as well as fireside chat, or get the early offers on our travel experiences. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Comes at you, you can get out of there fairly quickly. I see this young boy here who, there we go, having a bit of interaction off screen there. So Hannah, hello. It's good to hear from you. You're asking, is it true that elephants hold each other's tails when they walk? So Hannah, I have never seen that. Besides on the Jungle Book, if I'm honest. I've never seen them hold each other's tails. I've seen them playing around with each other and pulling each other's tails. And I've seen very, very small young elephants kind of walking right and kind of just on its mom's flank, which would look almost like holding tails, but I've never actually seen them holding tails like in a row, which I think is what the picture that you have in mind. It would be cool though. It would be really cool to watch, but unfortunately that doesn't happen. Look at that small little cherub there. Oh man. And Darren, good morning to you. Thank you so much for your question. You're asking, how do they get holes in their ears and not tear them fully? So Darren, when they're very young, their ears are still, they're quite soft. And it takes a good couple of months for that cartilage to kind of harden. Once they get to like a year and a half or so, their ear, even then maybe, let me push it out a bit. So let's say 3-4 years old, their ear's like a drum. So if you hit it or touch it, it sounds like a drum, like a little marimba drum or something. But when they're very, very small, it's quite soft. It's sturdy, but quite soft. And so, if they walk past like one of the big acacia trees, or one of the big culprits for these elephants tearing their ears is actually a tree called a sickle bush. So it doesn't have thorns as we know it. Thorns are essentially modified leaves, which over time the tree has adapted for protection. But the sickle bush has got essentially spines. We call them spines, which is a modification on the actual stem itself. So they are basically woody and very, very hard. In guiding terms, we've given it a Latin name. We call it Landrovis flatirus, because if you drive over one of those things, you just hear and it's game over. It's time to have a coffee break. But these elephants will walk past those trees in particular, and either they push into it and it's almost like an injection that goes through, or they catch it and it rips. And it causes some of the rips that you see in the elephants. So it's when they're very, very young, Darren, that they get them, either a tear or just over time like a little hole. But obviously as the ear starts to grow and the skin stretches, and insects go in and feed on some of the dead skin, it gets bigger and bigger, and looks like they basically were like the elephant version of Billy Idol, and had earrings and all of that kind of thing. Which I love. There was one elephant earlier on that looked like he'd had quite an interesting upbringing. And this hippo is just... He's got a screensaver on. He is just chillaxing there. So we're going to head over to Tembe. I pretty much guarantee there'll be elephants there. Let's go have a look. It's a Christmas miracle. There are elephants at Tembe Elephant Park. And we've got some in Nyala at the bottom left of your screen. We've got a male that's just like half and half. And then we've got some females just to the right of him. You can see that the different coloration between the male and female in Nyalas. Ooh, nice. A little bit of interaction there between these two males. I'm surprised that one's backing off. He looks huge. Check his tusks. I find that quite interesting. It's not always about the size. Mark, you were just saying, thanks for your comment, Mark. You were just saying there's some decent tuskers in Tembe. Yes, there seems to be a very good gene in this area, and in fact, Shishlui, Umfolozi area as well. There are some massive tuskers. So yeah, it's very, very prominent in this area, and Northern Kruger as well. It's got a good genome there as well too. But yeah, Mark, some big boys here. Huge guys. And then Caden, thank you so much. You're asking, is there a special name for female tuskers? So Caden, not to my knowledge. I mean, I have seen a few females with some pretty impressive tusks, but I am unaware of whether there is a particular name for a female elephant that has huge tusks. I think that the generic name for both males and females that have got large tusks would be a tusker. I don't think it's assigned to any one of the genders. But yeah, you generally find as well the females, at least in my my kind of interactions, the females, their tusks can be quite long and a little bit thinner than the males. The males tend to have very big, kind of thick tusks that can be quite large, and that would just be because the males tend to fight a lot more than the females, whereas the females would use those tusks for protection of the youngsters. So I'm getting word at Serendella that there are two male elephants having a slight argument over something. So I reckon let's head over there and we'll see what's happening. We'll try and quell any arguments. Has the argument finished? I think they tricked us. Oh, there's Billy Idol there. Unfortunately, we just missed it. I think Billy Idol and his friend had a bit of a musical disagreement. But it seems to have calmed down now. We fortunately missed it. I don't think the hippo even knows that it's Tuesday and he's live on Wild Earth. I'll be honest. I don't think he cares. He's just chilling there in the water. You might find, because these males have mixed in with the females, that maybe there's a female that's coming into estrus, and these males are having a bit of an argument over it. But we're going to head over to El Doño now, and go hopefully find a different species to yak about. Oh, here we go. This is. I love this is my favorite zebra gang. I absolutely love these guys. They just come down and they just give these elephants a hard time. I love these guys. I haven't seen them for a while. I'm really happy that they are back. Bit of a trumpet of displeasure there. Jess, thanks so much for your question. You're asking, do you think the dazzle effect from the zebra annoys the elephants? Jess, no. I don't think it's the dazzle effect that annoys the elephants. I think the elephants are just grumpy and they just want the waterhole to themselves. I think that's pretty much it. I see it with all different species. I've seen them chase buffalo away. I've seen them chase impala away. I don't think it really matters. They're just so funny when it comes to water, especially at this time of the year. It seems to have calmed down a little bit now. The zebra overwhelmed them. It's quite a large... I don't think this is one particular herd of zebra. I think this might be two different herds of zebra that have come into the waterhole to drink. And like elephant, they're actually very water dependent. The type of digestive system that zebra have got, where they're kind of hindgut fermenters, and they need quite a lot of water for their digestion. So they will drink, these particular zebra, these Burchell's or plain zebra, they'll drink at least 2 to 3 times every day. So a little hot tip for the day: if you ever get stranded out in the bush and you're looking for water, follow a herd of zebra, because if they can't find water, like they've done here now, they actually will, like the elephants, will dig. I've seen zebra dig in the late season for water. They're not as good filters as the elephants. If you find elephants digging in the drainage lines, the elephants will use the sand to filter the water through, and you see them sucking and spitting out. And sometimes they'll stand there for 20 minutes, half an hour, and eventually all the mud kind of goes, and the water that filters into the hole is nice and clear and nice and cool as well. And then they will drink from that water. I remember on one of the first ever training practicals that I went on, we were camping out in the bush for nearly a month, And we each every day had the job of going into the drainage line where the elephants had been digging, and go and find the freshest water we could in any of the holes and go collect water for camp for the night. It was awesome, man. But I tell you, you will not believe how clear that water is. You know, that sand is such an amazing filter that you come back with a... We used to have a contest of who could bring back the clearer water. So we'll leave these guys, and I think let's head over to Tau, because apparently our crocodilian friend is on the move. There he is there, kind of just left off the center of the screen. He's moved into the water.
For years, we've shared virtual wildlife. Now, let's experience it for real. I'm Lauren Arthur, and I'd love to show you my amazing home here in the Greater Kruger of South Africa. This 5-night journey is an exclusive connection to my piece of untamed Africa. I live here in these gorgeous landscapes surrounded by epic wildlife. The wild is calling, so come and join me.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. My scariest moment is when it happened twice. The other time I was with Cedric and the other time I was with Steve. And all those times, it was a black mamba. My favorite meal in camp is gonna be burger and chips.
Hyenas love bathing.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. You'll gain access to the channel ad-free. You can rewind and rewatch sightings and gain access to our live Tuesday safaris. There's also behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and every safari live episode, whenever it suits you. It's just the best way to connect with nature.
So this probably is, oh, there's a water buck. This is probably a territorial dispute. So because it's so dry and water is scarce, you might find that another crocodile has come into the water and this guy's like, nope, not gonna happen. But there's plenty of lunch around. So such interesting interaction. Check this female water buck. Oh no, here comes an Ellie. Probably gonna be the party pooper. Got some wildebeest in the background. Got some impala there. Beautiful heron. Ardidar ibis calling in the background. Oh, there's another croc there. Ooh, wait, here we go. Check it out. It's like croc wars. Interesting. So I'm going to go to a story quickly. Remember, the guys, the theme is what kind of interactions, what was your favorite interaction with an elephant? Not necessarily favorite. It could be, like I said, if you had a problem with an elephant, maybe he pushed you backwards, and the car once, you know how they force you up the road and then you miss the gate times and then you get into trouble. So yeah, let me know what your best interaction with an elephant is. But Lyra, thank you so much. You said that we were trapped between a herd of elephants just outside of Shingwetsi, and then this big bull came up behind us and sniffed and then walked so close to your vehicle that you actually managed to get a video. That is cool. And you know, have you noticed, Lyra, as well, you know, when you get when you have an interaction like that and you have a big elephant that walks past you, everyone in the car goes quiet. It seems like the birds stop chirping, like time stands still, right? And all you hear is just the of the elephant's feet on the ground as he walks past you, and the flapping of the ears. It's like, oh man, I love interactions like that. So well done, that's awesome. I'm glad you got a video, so at least when you tell somebody, they can say you're right, and at least you've got photo evidence. Beautiful. There's our heron friend, our grey heron. And then Jan Storm, you're asking, how old do crocodiles get? So Jan, crocodiles in the wild, they can live to anything from about 65 to 80 to 90 years old, in that kind of time frame. So kind of similar to where human beings are at this moment in our history. Very similar. It obviously depends on where they are. So where you've got areas like the Luangwa Valley in Zambia, or Chobe, the Chobe River, where there's a lot of crocodiles and a lot of competition, that number will sit at like that 60-year-old kind of age. Females a little bit longer, obviously. But in captivity, there's been many occasions where crocodiles have gotten over 100 years old. So yeah, they can get very, very old. Very, very old indeed. And it makes me think, every time somebody asks me a question about crocodiles and how old they get, I often think to myself, how old, if a crocodile, which can grow up to like 5-6 meters, can get to like 100 years old, how old did T-Rexes and huge lizards like that get? I don't know if there's anybody that maybe is in that field that has studied dinosaurs or anything like that, but how old did those animals, were those animals able to get, or at least how old do people think they would get? Because would they get as old as crocodiles? Would they get older? Are crocodiles just ridiculous and amazing reptiles? That's why they lasted so long? I don't know. Be an interesting thing to find out. Let me know, guys, if any of you know. You see this this waterbuck is, even though this croc's back is turned, she is not she's not keen. I doubt whether a crocodile that size would go for a big waterbuck like that. Again, energy conservation, but you can see the respect that the animals have for crocodiles. They don't mess around. And with crocodiles, everything is on the menu. Nothing is off the menu at all with them. You see that croc's on the move again now. They will eat everything and anything. They're beautiful ellies. See now, Hannah, this is when we needed them to hold tails, right? That's the perfect thing. I wish they were holding tails and we could make it true. See that little one in the middle? See how they put the small ones in the middle of the herd so they can protect them from the front and the back. Oh, that's just so iconic Africa, right? That's beautiful. Vicky, good morning to you. You were asking, you were saying that obviously you know that lone bull elephants will charge, but do entire herds ever attack? So yeah, Vicky, I've been charged at a few times by herds of elephant. It generally starts with one of the females getting a bit upset for whatever their reasoning might be, and they kind of get the rest of the herd riled up. And let me tell you something, there's nothing that instills the fear of whoever your God is in your life in you more, that when a herd of elephants turn, the ears go against their shoulders, they roll their trunks up, and they come at you in a line. There's just nothing. Us guides often joke and say that's why we wear brown pants or khaki pants, so you can't see that we actually did get too much of a fright. But yeah, Vicky, I've had it happen a few times. Luckily, I was positioned in a way to get away fairly quickly, but yeah, it's not fun, especially if the herd is spread out. And you're on a night drive and you've got one or two elephants that are really upset, and then you hear some in the background that start to trumpet and you actually can't see where all of them are. That's probably, for me personally, that's probably the scariest time in terms of game viewing with elephants, is just driving off but not knowing whether there are elephants on the road further up. So you've always got to be alert, always got to be awake, always got to have your guests' safety first. Even if it means missing out on a sighting, rather come back and try and get the sighting again tomorrow, rather than having a problem within that sighting itself. So I asked earlier about how old dinosaurs could get, and I've got an answer here. So apparently a Tyrannosaurus Rex, they had short lifespans. They only lived for like 28 to 30 years. Jeez. It's probably because they had such short arms and they couldn't do anything. They couldn't reach the wheat bix at the top of the shelf, and they died. And apparently they determined this by analyzing their growth rings on the fossils. Gee whiz, the technology's next level here. Very similar to tree rings. And then there's a famous T-Rex called Sue, that lived for nearly 30 years old, or at least for 30 years, should I say. I'm not too sure who sent that in. I'll find out, but whoever sent that in, thank you, that's interesting. So the crocs have got like basically between 50 and 70 years on the T-Rex. Boring. I'm not going to watch Jurassic Park the same now. See, these ellies are going into the water here. They're putting their sunscreen on, getting ready for the day. It looks very, very, very hot. There's the little one there. There's our croc friend. Sadly, he ruined I had the next half an hour at least planned for us on the croc attacking something, and he just, how boring. He just ruined it. A croc there now as well. I think he moved. I think he was further up there, unless that's a different one that's popped out, but I think it's the same one.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
Even a hyena coming into the action as well now. Oh my word! She's stalking the hyena now. Leopard, hyena, lion, all together in one shot. Oh, This is action-packed.
Out here, every moment counts. As a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel ad-free 24/7 and rewind if you want to catch something again. Enjoy behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and early access to travel offers. It's the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
The young green-backed heron with that colouring, but that colouring is throwing me a little bit. I don't think it's a young black-crowned night heron. I think it's a young green-backed heron. If any of my birders are out there, just confirm with me, but I'm going to call it a young green-backed heron. And Rambo has now entered the... Ooh, what's moving there? Is that another croc? Or a hippo, perhaps? I can't see what's actually moving there. He's disturbing our heron chat. Oh, it's a croc. There, you can just see the bottom right hand of your screen. That looked like a big male croc. Gee whiz. So you get these little herons here on screen. You actually get them. Herons actually you get pretty much all over the world. You know, the grey heron. A lot of you from North America to Europe. You'll know that grey heron or Rambo, and then of course these greenback herons. They're in South America. I think in South America, I stand to be corrected, but in South America, I think they're called striated herons. I think. Tracy, thank you. You've come back and said you also think it's a juvenile greenback heron, so we'll go with that. I'm going to add that to my list. So guys, I have seen these guys fish. I don't know if any of you have ever seen these greenback herons do this before. It is unbelievable. So I was in Kruger guiding guests once, and we were sitting at one of the many dams in the park, and one of these guys was on a rock, and he had a feather from an egret, a cattle egret, which are these like medium-sized white birds. Have got these white wings, and this heron, not this particular heron on TV, I'm sure he does it too, but this other greenbacked heron picked this feather up and he put it in the water as bait. So he dropped it in the water and he stood dead still and waited for the little fish to come up and try and feed on it, thinking that it was something edible on the water. And he would hit these fish and feed on these fish. And it's fairly common. It was the first time I'd seen it, and I was like, oh my goodness, I've just I've just witnessed evolution of herons, and I started telling everyone, and eventually I found out it's actually quite a common thing. So my claim to fame disappeared fairly quickly. But yeah, these guys are expert fishermen. So interesting, man. You can see it's quite hot there. I've seen a few of the birds. You see how he's got his mouth open. He's trying to cool down. I think it's a fairly hot day there at Tau Game Lodge. So Darren, thanks so much for your question. You're asking, can crocs still kill on dry land? So Darren, absolutely they can. So they'll obviously use the water as cover, and they're expert in obviously ambushing their prey. But they will, in certain times, and particularly in drought as well, will actually cover themselves in mud or vegetation. So they'll camouflage themselves on land. And the thing with crocodiles is there's a hammerkop or hammerhead. It's a pair that are busy feeding there. So when these crocodiles lie out in the sun and basically heat up, they store a lot of their energy in their muscles as lactic acid. But I'm talking in volumes that would kill us almost instantly. And so their muscles are essentially primed like a little bomb, like a firecracker. And so what they'll do is they'll sit on the land in the mud or on vegetation, and as the animal walks past, they will just hit it. They'll just use that lactic acid, fly off, hit the animal, and then we'll either drag it into something. Drag it into the mud, or if there is some water, obviously we'll pull it into the water. But I've seen Kariba on some of the islands. I've actually seen crocs hunting, Darren. So yeah, again, apex predators. It's not common. So the next time you go fishing, don't worry about walking down to the water. It's I wouldn't say that that's a common thing for them. It's mostly in the water, and obviously along the bank is prime. But yeah, it's they survivors. They've survived a very, very, very long time, so they'll do what they need to do. Jackie, you were saying that you call most birds plovers. Yes, I've got a few friends of mine that just call everything a pigeon. Everything, yeah. Is that a pigeon? No, it's not a pigeon. It's a heron. Oh, okay. Even if it's a big bird like an eagle, is that a pigeon? No, it's a bit bigger than a pigeon and it eats meat, so I would say that's probably an eagle. Some of my friends are, I suppose it takes you need many different people in your life to make it fun. And so a few of my friends, as passionate and as much as I love wildlife, I have a few friends of mine that literally just everything's a pigeon and everything's an impala. It doesn't matter if it's 350 kilograms and has spiraled horns, it's an impala. There's a lot happening there. While I was busy talking about the plover thing, we had some red-billed teals, which we saw earlier as well. See, our croc friends have kind of settled down a little bit. Just love listening to the birds. Just listen to all those weavers, and I just love it. Got some beautiful moorhens again, common moorhens or Eurasian moorhens as they're known. These guys are actually, if you are a fisherman, it would be a good idea sometimes to fish near these birds, because anything in the water, whether it be a crocodile or any splashing or anything like that, they're normally the first birds to cry almost straight away and call. So they're actually quite a good alarm system if you're worried about crocs being around. And their chicks are absolutely, like, they're just so cute. Like little black fluff balls with a bald head. They're very, very sweet. And that's a red-knobbed coot. See those two prominent red knobs on the top of the head there? These guys are very, very common all over southern Africa in dams, even in built-up areas. And they look quite nimble in the water, but let me tell you, on land, they're pretty clumsy. Funny birds. Funny names as well. So we're going to head over to Simbavati, and we're going to go see what's going on. Probably elephants, but let's hope something else comes down. What? Elephants at the water? This never happens. It is dry there. My goodness. Looks like a barren wasteland. And you hear the tawny flampinias again calling. So cool. So Leah Davis, thank you so much. Good afternoon to you. We're into the afternoon now, guys. You're asking, what is the gestation period of a crocodile and how long until the young are independent? So Leah, the normal gestation period, so we don't generally call it gestation period for crocodiles. So crocodiles lay eggs. So gestation would mean how long are they pregnant for. But with reptiles, they will, well, some are ovoviviparous, which means but with crocodiles, they will lay eggs, and their incubation period will be 80 to 90 days, so like 3 months. And what's interesting is the sex of the baby crocodile is governed by the temperature of the eggs. So the warmer the egg, or the warmer incubation period for the egg will have more females, and the cooler will be more males. And they've got a very tough first year, Leah. When they're born, they're very soft. They don't have much protection. They get really very, very little parental interest, if any. You know, sometimes the mom will maybe stay in the pond that her babies have hatched into for a couple of days, But really, she's not going to be protecting them or worried about them much. So they're pretty much on their own. And so a lot of those youngsters will not make it, pretty much, unfortunately. So it takes about a year, from my experience at least, it takes about a year for them to get to a point where they're at a size where they don't just get fed on by everything. You know, as babies, they get fed on by herons. You know, if they just outside of the water or they're moving to a different water source, I've actually seen a ground hornbill eat one. You know, they get fed on by fish eagles. They get fed on by other crocodiles. Crocodiles are cannibalistic. So yeah, it's not an easy first year for these guys. But if they can survive, then it's on. Then their true dinosaur form comes into play, and then they become proper little apex predators.
My name is Amy, and today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently.
At Wild Earth, we believe every story has the power to create change. That's why we've launched the Wild Earth Impact Foundation, a non-profit dedicated to conservation and social impact. By showcasing conservation stories, we can change lives, protect nature, and empower communities. We have partnered with Empowers Africa to accept tax-deductible donations from US donors. Your donation will help fund critical programs that support our mission. Join us and be part of the change.
My name is Takudzwa Panda Msesani. I really want to film an artwork, and it has been my goal. I'll be just keeping my eyes open. The worst driver is James. He's driving, yeah. You gotta be holding on back in there, yeah? Like in bumps, and I mean, it happens when, these things happens when you're actually going for animals usually. But then, yeah, he's driving, yeah, you gotta put your seatbelt.
Greatest wildlife spectacle on planet Earth. We'll see you there.
Don't you love that little dribble? When they drink and they dribble. Reminds me of my kids when they were younger. Actually, to be fair, it reminds me of my kids now too, now that they're older. Don't tell them I said that though. You know what the coolest part about this time of year is, guys? Is that soon, in the next kind of, especially with the heat picking up like it is, in the next couple of months, all the migratory summer birds are going to start coming back. And here in Africa, we know summertime when we hear the woodlands kingfisher. I'm not even going to try and mimic its call, because one of you will probably want to call the ambulance and think I'm choking. So I'm not going to do it. Plus, I have a reputation, obviously. But that call is, as soon as I hear it, I know straight away summer has arrived. Sadly, it starts at 4:30 in the morning. But, man, I love it. Don't forget, guys, I'm asking today, what is your best interaction with an elephant? Be good or bad? Let me know. Give me a story, man. Doesn't have to be a one-liner. What happened? Where were you? What did the elephant do? Was it grumpy? Was it happy? I'd love to hear from you guys. Let me know. I love hearing stories about the different animals and the interactions that you guys have. We're so fortunate to live where we live. And anyone that isn't living in Africa, you got to come here, man. You got to come here and experience these things. See, this female's having a shower. Wah. It's a go-away bird, grey lory. It's actually how I find my wife when I'm in the supermarket, because I get bored and I walk off, and generally my son and I will go and fiddle with the toys, or go find a ball or something like that, and then obviously I lose my wife, and so I'll just do a wah, and she'll walk out in the middle of the line so that I can see where she's at. It embarrasses her. Some of you will be asking why she even bothers at all, but it works. Within, at least, I would say, I don't think we've ever waited more than 15 seconds before she's come out, probably because she doesn't want me to do it again. But that go-away bird sound has lots of meaning in my family. So Jed, thank you so much. Good afternoon to you. You're asking if I would ever guide on Wild Earth on Safari Live itself. So Jed, yeah, absolutely. It's a possibility at some stage. I have my own business, my own safari business, which keeps me busy. So I often am away guiding my own trips. Or freelancing sometimes as well, and then of course I've got a full plate at home. I've got 2 kids, and my son, who's the youngest, plays every sport known to mankind, and so where I live in KwaZulu-Natal, sports is a huge thing within the schools. So like this weekend there's one hockey match of half an hour in Pietermaritzburg, which is an hour and a half from where I live. So I have lots of things on the go, but absolutely, if the stars aligned and it fit within the schedule, I would be absolutely privileged to guide with the guys on Safari Live. I mean, they're just amazing people, and the crew, the Wild Earth crew guys, are next level. They treat you like family, and they work so hard to bring us these pictures and to keep things running. I don't think people understand how hard it is to keep something like this running when you're in the bush with limited signal and limited infrastructure. These guys are next level, so I would be over the moon to be able to work with them more on the ground than I do at the moment. So yeah, who knows, Jed? We'll see what happens in the future. So we're going to leave our little Ellies having their drink / sunbathing, and we're going to head over and go look at some rock dussies or rock hyrax. There's our little rock rabbit slash hyrax slash dassie, as we call them here in South Africa. But their real proper name is a rock hyrax. That's pretty much what they're called. And you find them all over the place. Even in the Timbavati, actually, there's certain rocky outcrops where I've seen these guys. But here we've gone all the way south, quite far away from the Timbavati. We're now at Betty's Bay. And he's chilling. And you know what's interesting about these guys is they're very picky about where they live, funnily enough. You know, they don't just see some rocks and go, that looks like a great place to live. I think I shall call that mine. They don't like facing into prevailing winds. So wherever they go, they like to at least be at an angle or facing away from the prevailing wind. So they can be quite picky. But I suppose if you're going to live there for your whole life, you don't really want to be blown away every day. Especially Stony Point in Betty's Bay area, the wind can howl at certain times of the year. But it looks like the most gorgeous day. In fact, I don't know if there's anywhere in Southern Africa at the moment that is not having the most gorgeous weather. And this is fairly typical of them. Even in the early mornings, if you do an early morning game drive in areas where you get these rock hyrax, you very rarely will see them. Sometimes on a very hot day, they'll come out and sun themselves, but not early. They're not early birds, unfortunately. The most of their activity is in the late afternoons when they'll feed quite heavily. So if you guys are ever wanting to see these guys, if you're ever in Betty's Bay or there's an area where there are rock hyrax, don't go early. Or go early and do some birding and look for other animals, but by mid-morning or so you'll start to see them coming out. But I've had it before where it's been a bit of a cold, mizzy day and they don't even come out. They just chill in bed and watch Netflix and have a hot chocolate, living the dream. Oh, look at that, man. It looks beautiful, but let me tell you, that ocean is cold. It is very, very cold. You need at least like a 4 or 5 mil suit to go surfing and swimming in there. At least for me. I'm a baby when it comes to water. I cannot handle cold water. I do a lot of trail running. It's my, we've got some cormorants, white-breasted cormorants there. I do a lot of trail running and ultras, and as one of my, it's my main hobby, besides obviously what I do for a living. And a friend of mine, we were training for a race, and a friend of mine said, let's go do the, I don't know, there's a name for it, but you go into a sauna for like 45 minutes or half an hour, whatever it was. And then you go sit in an ice bath. I think it was for like 7 or 8 minutes. I think the ice bath was, I think the one I went into was 9. There were colder ones. I think I went into the warmest one, which was 9. There was one that I think was like 4 or 5, if I'm not mistaken. And I was supposed to be in there, I think, for like 6 or 7 minutes, but I think it took me 6.5 minutes just to get in. And then at that point I had to get out again. But yeah, I do not like cold water. It's why I live on the east coast, where the water sits at like 26, 27 degrees Celsius in the summertime. This water there is very, very cold.
Oh, wow. What does it take to handle the wild? Balance. Determination. Focus.
Yaku!
And gear that can take a beating so you don't have to.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Most people that know me really well call me Max. I'm a mum. I have 2 boys. One is 16 years old and one is 14 years old. I'm a very, very proud mama of my 2 boys. I've just always been passionate about leopards. I'm passionate about their conservation. I'm just passionate about everything to do with leopards. I love them.
Join our expert guides at dawn for a live, immersive safari as the bush comes to life.
Found ourselves a chameleon, and look how he's changed color.
Every sunrise brings new discoveries.
Pound for pound, a leopard is one of the strongest cats around.
Ask questions, share your thoughts, and connect with nature live and in real time.
Great excitement, great happiness.
Start your day with adventure.
Out here, every wild moment matters, and as a Wild Earth explorer, you won't miss a thing. Watch the Wild Earth channel, ad-free 24/7, where you can even rewind and watch something again. Get access to behind-the-scenes videos, fireside chats, and access to early travel offers. It is the best way to stay connected and be part of the Wild Earth family.
Listening to that, the waves crashing in the background there. He's got some prime real estate there, let me tell you. What a life. Guys, we're going to leave our little Hyrax friend, our little rock rabbit, old Sleepy Joe, yeah? And we're going to head over and go see some terrapins. It honestly looks like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have just defeated a hippo. That's what it looks like, am I right? It looks like Michelangelo, Donatello and Leonardo have just done their business. Raphael, I don't know where he is. But yeah, victory is at hand. How beautiful is that, man? So this is fairly normal. I know it looks a bit strange, but you very, very often will see terrapins lying on hippo. I see that's so shallow there. So that hippo is going to eventually turn over because otherwise that one side of his skin's going to burn. So the terrapins are going to have to hop off and then go back on the other side. But yeah, these the hippo, it's very shallow there. So I would hazard a guess. Thorny bush have got a few dams, so this is probably just possibly a young male that has been kind of ousted out of a pod, as we call it, and has had to go into a dam here on his own. So he's going to have to move over, like I said. But what's interesting about hippo is they do have a secretion in their skin. It's like a red color that they can secrete. And a lot of people think that it's actually, it's got properties for like a sunscreen, but actually it is a moisturizer. So it'll just keep the skin from cracking. But this is why hippo lay in the water all day and then will come out and feed at night, because they've got such sensitive skin, no hair covering them, one dull color, so they can get burnt quite badly. And so, yeah, shame. Taking a big breath. So hippos can hold their... Well, let's count. Excuse the computer noises. I'm going to find a... Do I have a timer? We'll try and see. So I'm going to time. I've just started it now. So give or take maybe 7 seconds. Let's see how long it takes for him to breathe. So normally... oh, he ruined it. Oh, he's going to flip over. Move over a little bit. They can hold their breath for about 5 or 6 minutes. But what's amazing with hippo is they will lie when they're sleeping, obviously when conditions are better, they will lie with their bodies under the water completely, and they'll be fast asleep, and they can sleep for a good 20 to 30 minutes at a time. And then involuntarily, without them actually waking up, they'll just lift their nose out of the water. They'll take a breath and then they drop it back down. But they'll still be asleep. Isn't that amazing? So sometimes when we get to a waterhole, especially if I'm on foot with guests and we're going to stop at a waterhole and have some water and just chill under a tree, and 1 or 2 of my guests say, oh, I'd like to go check out the tracks or something around the water, I will wait for about 10 minutes just to see whether a hippo's nose will pop out of the water and come back down, because you don't see them until someone gets close to the water, and then you see quite a lot of them. So yeah, they're amazing creatures. And we've got now an Ellie doing his sunbathing technique. Beautiful. I was talking earlier about watching them drink and how they will use their trunks on the top of the water. You'll see he's now going below to get the muddy water. He's just going to plaster himself with big, thick wads of mud. And then quite often, if you're at a waterhole, you'll see on the big, like jackalberry trees or weeping boer beans or any of those trees around the water, you'll see these big muddy, almost like marks on the trees. It looks like somebody's basically like drywalled a tree almost. What it is, it's these elephants that come and cover themselves with mud, and then what they do is the mud will harden, and then they walk off and they actually will scratch the tree, and they scratch the mud off primarily because part of themselves putting the mud on is to obviously keep themselves cool. That's a big part of it. But the other part of it as well is to protect them from any biting and stinging insects too. So they'll rub past the trees and get rid of the leftover mud on them so that they can put more cooling mud on, but also to get rid of some of the insects that have gotten stuck within the mud. Rhino do it, and the buffalo will do it as well. So often if you guys are around in Big Five areas and you're around the waterholes, just check the trees. I think there's one at the top right hand I can see. It looks almost greyed or flat on the trunk there. You can see it's kind of striated at the bottom, And then as you go up, it's almost like faded and smooth. And that will be one of the trees that I was talking about. Off he goes. Okay, so we're going to head over to King's Camp now. We've got a big Ellie on his way down to the waterhole, and we'll leave our hippo and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles to their day in the sun. Hopefully we'll see those terrapins again, and I'll give you guys some info. They're quite interesting. Oh, perfect timing. See how he clears that water first. You'll watch him clear the water because he wants that fresh water. Just gets rid of that muddy top layer. There, that's not good enough. So he's going to do it again until he finds the right layer of water to drink out of. So EJ, good afternoon. It's very nice to hear from you. I can't believe it's 12:30 already, guys. Jeez. So you've given me your Ellie interaction that you had. So you said your best Ellie encounter was after a long hot day of hard work. You were driving a 5-ton lorry up a steep incline with a hairpin bend, and then you bumped into this large, well, not bumped, but you came across this large bull elephant that popped out on the other side and almost bashed into him. And you guys just sat and faced each other and had a stare down for what seemed for ages, right? Exhilarating but scary. You say that you lost the feelings in your hands and feet from fright. I think he got a fright too. So EJ, yes. It's amazing how our bodies react, right? I remember when I was training, one of the trainers that was with us, before our first interaction on foot, where we were pushed by an elephant. So the first time I was ever charged was by a bull elephant on foot. And he said to us, you will never ever know how you will behave when you are charged until you are charged. You could have as much bravado as possible and say, no, I'll stand my ground, I'm not scared. But when it happens, like you rightly say, you went, your hands and feet went numb. You never know how you're going to react. And the first time it happens is almost like a rite of passage in your guiding career. When you are able to displace an elephant that is really upset with you, and look after your guests and follow your protocols. Yeah, sure. The adrenaline pumps for the next half an hour. And possibly you need to visit the camp's laundry afterwards, but that feeling that you get of, okay, I've done it, it's happened, I know what to expect is one of the best feelings in the world. But thanks for your story, and don't forget, guys, we don't have much time left. We've got 25 minutes. I want to hear your stories, your best elephant sighting, good or bad. Let me know. Looks like he's still trying to find his perfect little water spot.
The Wild Earth Impact Foundation is a non-profit that uses the power of wildlife storytelling as a force for good. We create sustainable development projects that showcase conservation stories, empower people, and inspire environmental action. As a registered South African PBO, you can make a tax-deductible donation to the Wild Earth Impact Foundation. To find out more, visit our website.
And that's it for this morning's drive.
She's just got her impala, everybody.
And we're going to be heading out and seeing what animals we can find.
Safari, wine, and waterfalls. The ultimate African adventure. Sip South Africa's finest wines. Experience a world-class safari among Africa's iconic wildlife. And stand in front of Victoria Falls, one of the natural wonders of the world. All this can be yours with Wild Earth Travel, where Africa comes alive.
Pop out of them. This little hooked thorn looks like a fish hook. And we know spring has arrived when these trees, they're one of the first trees, and it's normally towards the end of winter that start to flower. You can see they've got those, and the color varies. Sometimes it's like a yellowy hue, and then sometimes it's like it can be a bit white, just kind of off-white or cream color. But they now, at this time of year, because it's so dry there, these trees get absolutely hammered by the animals. You know, the ellies will not necessarily feed on the flower, so the giraffe will be feeding very, very heavily on these knobthorn trees at the moment, because they will be one of the only tree species out in the bush that will have still quite a lot of nutrition, in particular proteins. But the ellies will push these knobthorn trees over, and they will go for the root. But of course, in true ellie style, we're not talking about just eating the root like a warthog would do. They are the purveyors of good food in the bush. They push the tree over. What they do is they lift their trunk up and they fit the tree. So a good rule of thumb, I've had guests that have asked me before, is how big does an elephant have to be to push a tree over? And a good rule of thumb is if the elephant lifts his trunk up and the tree trunk can fit between the tusks, that elephant will be able to push that tree over. So what they do is lift their trunk up and they start rocking, and they get momentum, and they push and they push and they push. And eventually they, oh, there we go. There's a perfect. Thank you so much, guys. And they rock, they break it, they push it over, exposing the roots. And then what they do is they just nip the end of the root off. So they don't eat the whole root itself. They just take the nip of the root off. They eat that because that's got a lot of nutrition in it, and then they just walk off. You know what I mean? They just off they go. It's like they eat all the red Skittles and leave the rest of the pack. They're so funny how they behave like that, and how destructive they can actually be. But yeah, we're going to head over to Founders, I think. See what's going on. Leave this guy to figuring out which water is best. Oh, guys, look at this. We have a beautiful white rhino right here by the camera. How cool is this? Check at his muddy little nose. And we've got a Cape wagtail that's just come past. I'm going to go quiet for a little bit just so that we can hear him drinking and hear some sounds. How cool was that, guys? That is as close as you like. Look at his little prehistoric armadillo butt. How cute. This is actually a really good vantage point. So depending on how he turns, you're going to see his 3 toes. Odd-toed ungulates, they fall into the category. You'll see his 3 toes with the majority of the weight on the middle toe. So it's the interesting behavior there. Did you see he sniffed? And then his tail corkscrewed. Now, what's going on is he has picked up that there's been another rhino here at the waterhole. He's just logged on to his Facebook profile, the original Facebook profile, and he's now reading his messages, and he's noticed he's just got a bit of a message that he's not happy about. So with rhinos, when their tail corkscrews, it's normally a sign of either excitement or distress. Oh guys, look at this. Okay, so let me tell you something about this rhino. He got an amazing DM this morning. I think what's happened is there's been a female that has been at the waterhole. Possibly some of our zoomies can tell us whether this morning there was a female around. What he's doing right now, you see he's lifting his head and smelling. Now, what's happening is he's picking up pheromones within the urine of one of the rhinos that were here. And what he does is he puts his head back and he's engaging a gland that sits between his frontal lobe and his nasal cavities. It's called a Jacobson's organ. And that Jacobson organ will tell him whether the female is in estrus or not, and whether he needs to run over with his shirt and tie and try and set up a date for this evening. How cool was that, guys? My heart's beating here. That was the most awesome sighting. Oh, you are the best, boy. Thank you. And I wish you much luck on your date later on this evening. In 16 months' time, maybe just over 16 months' time, if we see a very, very, very small rhino and its mom come to the waterhole, we'll know exactly what has happened. He's having a good sniff there. So Henk, you've just messaged and said he's a tank. He is a tank. We actually call them bush tanks. And you said he's got no neck. I think what we should do is call him Fester Adams. We'll call him Fester. We'll try and you know, they don't often come through this area. I don't know whether we'll see him again. But you can see on the left there he's got a notch closest to his face, and then that horn is quite an interesting shape, but it will grow. Their horns grow back between every 3 and 5 years. These rhinos have to have their horns cut for safety reasons. There's the electric fence. You can hear that clicking in the background. That's just a bad connection with the electric fence there. Let me tell you, this guy is excited. He's excited about his possible dates. He's probably going to go gather some impala lilies up. He's excited. Very excited. He's busy. We might see him marking, doing some marking as well. I see he's rubbing a little bit on the tree there, but you might see him spraying a bit as well. But at the moment, he just looks so excited. There's the tail corkscrewing again. And off he goes on his date. Good luck, boy. We'll be rooting for you. What a legend. And yes, Nolene, what an awesome rhino sighting that was. I do agree with you. Oh, guys, so we got like 12, 13 minutes left. Today went so quickly. I've got two interesting stories about the elephants. There's a blacksmith lapwing. You were saying melanistic marble, thank you so much for your comment. You said, I had a bull elephant outside my room in Botswana. He woke me up from siesta by playing with the water in the brook. I swear he wanted to show off to me. Possibly, they are quite intelligent creatures. Maybe he thought that you were hiding a female elephant in the tent there with you, and that if he played around, you'd let her out to go and play. But yeah, they do show off a lot. They are quite funny. And then Antoinette, you were saying your fright was with an Ellie who visited when you visited Kruger Park, and we were watching bulls fighting, and the next moment one turned around and charged the car. Oh, jeez. Antoinette, that is hectic. And you said the only thing that you could do was pray like crazy. Yes, Antoinette, it's amazing how religious people become when they get chased off by someone, hey? And then I just got a message through from Penelope. Penelope, you're saying that in Shishlui you were charged by 2 big bull elephants, but you managed to speed away. But then you were stopped by the rangers because you were speeding. Oh, jeez, Penelope. Oh, that's just bad luck. That's just bad luck. I hope it was worth it. I hope at least you saw something else, like some lions or wild dog or something in Shishlui while you were there to make it worth it, Penelope. But I'm so sorry that had to happen to you. And well done for getting out of there. And I hope the traffic officers were kind. And after you explained what had happened, they let you off with just a warning.
Let's go and take a look. See you out there.
My full name is Maxine Gaines. Best part of the job, gosh, I just love everything about guiding. I love being able to observe animal behavior and animals behaving naturally. So for me, that's by far the best part of the job. And so what we do here at Wild Earth is develop those connections with the people that are viewing, and maybe just light a little spark that says, you know what, I want to be involved in protecting this ecosystem.
Join us on the greatest and largest game drive in the world.
If you love watching Wild Earth, here's a little tip. Become a member. You can gain access to the channel ad-free, you can rewind and re-watch sightings, and you can join our Tuesday live safaris. There's also behind the scenes videos, fireside chats, and every Safari Live episode, whenever you want it. It's just a better way to stay connected to nature.
So guys, we're nearing the end of our show. I'm sad. Very sad. But I guess I need to tell you guys about my my favourite. Oh, we're going to head back to Tower Game Lodge to our croc. That is a big male croc. Woohoo! With a teal in the background there, but that is a monster crocodile. Wow. Isn't he gorgeous as well? Hey, look at that beautiful coloration. He's got his solar panel out. What a life. So yeah, so my I think my favorite elephant interaction that I've ever had was I was with guests just on a normal game drive. And we'd been looking for this lion pride, man, for like 2 days. And we kept seeing their tracks, but we just weren't finding them. And I'm sure my guests at one point were like, this guy just, I don't think he could track a tap, let alone lions. This is just getting a bit much. So I was getting a bit desperate, right? So I found tracks that were fairly fresh. I got off the vehicle. And I said to the tracker, just stay with the guests for a bit. I just want to follow these in and see whether they cross the block. So I got off, started walking down a game trail, looking at the tracks. Didn't have guests with me, so my senses were not as heightened as they would normally be. And I walked past this massive termite mound. And as I walked past it, there was this huge bull elephant. And I essentially was about 5 meters from him, and I walked past him. I saw him out of the corner of my eye. I stopped, I turned, I looked at him. He was eating something. I think he was eating some mud off the there's some white-faced whistling ducks. Cool, man. And he was eating some mud off the termite mound, and I stopped, looked at him, and then of course everything in my mind is like, okay, hang on, now I'm now looking for warning signs. What is he going to do? I kind of start looking around and going, okay, because normally with Ellies, if you have to run, you zigzag. So you zigzag between trees and stuff. So now I'm thinking, okay, if I zigzag over there, this is all happening in like fast forward, right? Now I'm trying to think of ways of getting out there. Guys, this elephant lifted his trunk up. He started to smell me. He put his trunk back down. We stared at each other. I didn't time it, but I reckon it was probably for about 2 minutes or so, 2-3 minutes, that we just kind of looked at each other. And I swear, as I sit here right now talking to you guys, we had this moment of just, I can't describe it. It was yeah, it's just something I can't describe to you guys. We just had an agreement that he wasn't going to turn me into a pancake and I wasn't going to ruin his day. And he spread his ears out, made himself look a bit bigger, started walking off at an angle, turned around, looked back at me and walked off. It was surreal. I didn't think things like that could happen in the wild. And I walked back to the vehicle and the guest said to me, "Did you find the lions?" And I said, "Nope, I did not." Sorry, I was too busy having a moment with the Ellie, but it's something I will never ever forget. Just the most magnificent moment ever. I loved it. Check out these spoonbills are busy checking this crocodile out. See, now they're all big shot. Now that he's past them, the guys are like, "I shoot him off, guys. I told you I'm not scared of crocodiles. I'll just walk alongside him and make sure he leaves you guys." Jake, you were saying, thanks for your message. You were saying sometimes you have to control the guests more than the animals. Yes. And I actually have a story about that, Jake. But we've got a couple of minutes left. And as you know, a story with me does not only take 2 minutes. So just remind me, next week, I think I'm back on Tuesday next week, if I'm not mistaken. So just remind me, Jake, if you are watching, or if any of you guys are watching, just remind me about my my guests on the Game Drive story. I had photographers with me, and I'll chat to you guys a little bit about that story. So you'll have to come back. Lenny, thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the comment, and yeah, hopefully I will see you guys again next week when I'm back. But don't forget, we're here every day, guys, and there's a group of us that are just so passionate, and we just love what we do and love spending time with you guys, and the techs are amazing, and they love the interaction. So please, guys, it's just so awesome interacting with you guys and spending time with you. You make my day. So thank you. So guys, we're almost there. We're at that part of the day where we have to go back to our normal lives and just watch our bird feeder. But don't forget, we got the game drive starting this afternoon at 3. Yeah, tune in for that. Jeez, we've had some phenomenal sightings recently. Like I said, I'll see you guys next week. We'll chat to you guys next week. These crocodiles have definitely got some kind of thing going on here today. You see that tail flapping in the water, making himself look a bit bigger, creating a bit of a wake. Like some dynamic that we're not 100% sure of happening here. Alright guys, so from myself, from the Wild Earth Tech team, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for your questions, thank you for your stories, thank you for tuning in, and we'll chat to you guys next week. Don't forget to join us this afternoon for the Game Drive. Much love to all of you, and have the best week ever. Cheers guys.